In this segment, we're going to talk about the history of Social Security, all from Tom's popular Social Security seminar and PBS special, Don't Worry, Retire Happy. Well, welcome to the show, Tom.
Thanks, Steve.
I want to say, I loved your PBS special, and I really enjoyed it because that's a consumer show. And I got to tell you, I was really, you're really artful in your ways to articulate. But, when we're talking about Social Security now, there's been so many changes, and we're going to get into that throughout the week. But it's still America's #1 retirement plan.
Yeah, it's the largest retirement asset that most people have, and yet they spend more time planning their summer vacation than how to maximize this benefit.
Now, with some of the changes, there's still some tactical issues here to go through, and we'll get through those. So, well, let's talk about the history. Now, this is amazing because most Americans do not know the history, FDR, all the things that happened back in the day. Walk us through some of that.
Yeah, if you really want to know, Social Security started back in Germany, with Otto von Bismarck. He started the first real Social Security program, and it was interesting because life expectancy was 48, but the retirement age was age 70.
Wow.
So there were plenty of workers to pay for Social Security. But it started in the U.S. Back under the Roosevelt administration, and it was really a response to the Great Depression, because if you think about it, in the Great Depression, there were no social programs, and so the people that got really hit were the older people. And so Social Security started, and the real question was this going to be a welfare-type entitlement program, or was this going to be an insurance program? And that was really the argument. And the Social Security Sub-Cabinet Group was headed by Secretary of Labor Frances Perkins. And if you want to study a profile in courage, study Secretary Perkins. Remember, she was a cabinet secretary back when women weren't cabinet secretaries. And there'd be no Social Security if it weren't for her. Now, I don't agree with all of her political status, but she pushed it through, because she not only had to push it through Congress, she had to push it through the Supreme Court, because Social Security was unconstitutional. We'll talk about that.
Wow.
So Roosevelt wanted a system to which citizens contributed based on earnings. He didn't want a welfare or dole type program. He wanted a program that citizens could take pride in, collecting benefits they had purchased. And he also wanted it to be self-financing. So he didn't want this to be a debt or deficit issue. Well, Secretary of the Treasury, Henry Morgenthau, he argued for an insurance program as well. So Roosevelt wanted an insurance program, and the Secretary of Treasury wanted an insurance program. But under Secretary of Labor Frances Perkins, the committee sent Roosevelt a recommendation that was more an entitlement program, a welfare-type program. Well, Roosevelt said, nope. He wanted an insurance program, a pay-for-yourself. He told Perkins to modify the proposal because it was the same old dole under a different name. Well, now, the Social Security Act was passed in 1935. The initial Social Security program was an insurance program. It's the one that Roosevelt wanted. That's the one that was passed by Congress. Tax collection was going to start in 1937. Benefits weren't going to start until 1942. But now the Supreme Court weighed in. Because if you think about it, Social Security was not constitutional. There's nothing in the Constitution for Social Security. Well, what they found that tax could be imposed under the taxing power of the federal government, and payments to the elderly could be justified under the power to promote the general welfare, but they couldn't be linked. So think about this. You could tax and you could help old people, but you couldn't tax to help old people. That's a problem. And so they found the program constitutional, but they evaluated all the parts separately. But the approved program was not the one that Roosevelt submitted and Congress passed. So Roosevelt and Congress passed a insurance program. The one that was approved by Congress was more the entitlement and welfare type program. Well, now there was a constituency building up among the conservatives. They were concerned about it. But on August 15, 1935, this Social Security Act was signed into law by President Roosevelt, and he said, we can never insure 100% of the population against 100% of the hazards and vicissitudes of life, but we have tried to frame a law that will give some measure of protection to the average citizen and to his family against the loss of a job and against poverty-ridden old age. And interestingly enough, the first Social Security recipient was a lady by the name of Ida Mae Fuller. Now, here's interesting. They set the retirement age at 65. You know why? Because life expectancy was 65. She lived to be age 100. So let's look at this. She paid in a total of $24.75. All in her whole career, $24.75. Her first monthly check was $22.54, and she collected $22,888 on a total contribution of $24.75.
Unbelievable.
Pretty good deal. Now, yours isn't going to look that good, and neither is yours, Steve.
No, unfortunately. Well, to me, this is a great understanding because when I first heard you talk about this, I always thought Social Security was a welfare plan, but really even FDR, a Democrat, did not want that. He wanted it to be kind of an investment. You put in money, the government helps you with it. That was a contribution plan, and it was built like an annuity payout.
Yes, and he wanted an account. He wanted the private accounts like what you hear, some of the right-wing Republicans talk about private accounts. That's the way Social Security was originally started. And even in the 40s, they kept maintaining these accounts as an illusion because people thought they were paying into their accounts.
Unbelievable. For more information on the history of Social Security and how you can position yourself as a retirement resource to your clients and prospects, just click on the landing page address in the video description.